It's been a long time coming, but Sam Wilson has finally taken the lead role in a Marvel movie as Captain America. If you need a refresher on the Star Spangled Man's history before seeing Captain America: Brave New World, our recap stretches from the 1940s to the present day.
You want me? Come and get me!
The legacy of Captain America dates back to World War II, when the U.S. Army took a bold step in their efforts to defeat the Nazis and their research division, Hydra. Using a serum created by Dr. Abraham Erskine and technology designed by Howard Stark, the top-secret agency known as the Strategic Scientific Reserve, or SSR, developed Project Rebirth with the aim of creating the perfect soldier. After some deliberation, they selected a scrawny yet brave young man named Steve Rogers to become their Captain America. After successfully undergoing the super soldier procedure, Rogers led an elite unit known as the Howling Commandos on missions to sabotage Hydra and their leader Red Skull. Unfortunately, he was unable to save his best friend Bucky Barnes when he seemingly fell to his death during one of them. After locating the enemy's base, he managed to board Hydra leader Red Skull's bomber and defeat him, turning the tide of the war in favor of the Allies. He wasn't able to escape before the ship crashed into the Arctic Ocean. For a long time, it was believed that Captain America had been killed in action. No one else took up the mantle in that time. Nearly 70 years later, Steve was discovered in the wreckage of the plane, defrosted, and approached by Nick Fury with an offer to join the Avengers. After teaming up with some of Earth's other mightiest heroes to defeat the trickster god Loki, he found himself employed by S.H.I.E.L.D., the present-day version of the SSR. It was during his time here that Rogers met a man who would go on to become one of his greatest friends and allies, former Air Force pararescueman Sam Wilson. During his time as an airman, Sam, call-sign Falcon, used an experimental wingsuit device to carry out missions in Afghanistan. After losing his wingman Riley in the line of duty, he resigned from combat and took a job at the VA helping veterans overcome their PTSD in Washington, D.C. One morning, Sam was out for a jog when he found himself being repeatedly passed by an American hero.
Don't say it! Don't you say
On
it!
your left.
Come on!
Bonding over their shared military experiences, the two quickly established a rapport, and when Steve and Natasha Romanoff realized that Hydra had infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D., it was Sam that they came to for help. He happily agreed to help out the heroes, putting on the wingsuit once again. Together, they took on the Winter Soldier, who of course ended up being a brainwashed Bucky. They managed to stop him, but not before Bucky tore one of his wings off. When Rogers woke up in the hospital following his battle with Hydra forces, Sam was the first person he saw. With the evil organization in disarray, they turned their attention toward finding Bucky and set him on the path of redemption. It wasn't long before Rogers was called to help the Avengers, though, leaving Sam to locate the Winter Soldier solo. After the Avengers successfully captured Hydra leader Baron Strucker, obtained the Mind Stone, and freed Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, they held a party in their tower to celebrate. Sam managed to secure a spot on the guest list, giving him the chance to rub elbows with Tony Stark and the rest of the team. At this point, he wasn't totally sold on the idea of becoming an Avenger himself.
Avenging is your world. Your world is crazy.
That all changed when Ultron nearly triggered a global extinction event during the Battle of Sokovia. With a new set of wings and an eager attitude, Falcon joined the Avengers alongside War Machine, Vision, and Scarlet Witch. Sam went on to play an important role in the Avengers. When Thaddeus Ross's Sokovia Accord split the team in two, Sam stayed loyal to Cap even though it earned him an honorable discharge from the armed forces. With Steve Rogers' help, he confronted Bucky in Bucharest and tried to protect him after he was framed for the assassination of King T'Chaka. Sam ended up being put behind bars for doing so, but that's nothing a good old-fashioned prison break can't fix. When Thanos sent his army to retrieve Earth's Infinity Stones, everything changed. Despite the best efforts of the Avengers and the Wakandan army, the Mad Titan was able to erase half of all life from existence with a snap of his fingers. Sadly, Sam was one of the unlucky 50%. But 5 years later, the remaining Avengers were able to recover the stones and blip back their allies just in time to defeat Thanos in the rematch. Following the Battle of Earth, Steve felt that he had earned his retirement. After returning the stones to their original places, he decided to return to the 40s and grow old with his love, Peggy Carter. At Stark's funeral, an elderly Rogers met Sam on a bench, bestowing the famous vibranium shield upon him as well as the title of Captain America.
I'll do my best.
That's why it's yours.
Unfortunately, there were a few growing pains before Sam could truly embody the role. 6 months after being given the shield, Sam decided to donate it to the US government. But instead of putting it in the Smithsonian like he thought they would, the Department of Defense gave it to soldier John Walker and declared him the new Captain America instead. Sam and the recently deprogrammed Bucky were both shocked at the announcement, which was made in response to the rise of a group of super soldier terrorists called the Flag Smashers. It wasn't long before Walker proved to the world that he wasn't worthy. After he beat a Flag Smasher to death in front of a filming crowd, Sam and Bucky demanded that he give up the shield. When he refused, the pair fought him for it. And even though the Falcon suit became damaged in the struggle once again, Sam still managed to break Walker's arm and take it. Thankfully, Sam didn't have to stay grounded for long as he received a new and improved outfit from his allies in Wakanda. Decked out in red, white, and blue, he managed to stop a flag smasher attack on a political conference, showing the world that he always was the true heir to the Captain America mantle. That's where Sam Wilson's story picks up in Captain America: Brave New World, but the government conspiracy at the heart of the movie goes far beyond its title character. Another important player is Isaiah Bradley, whose attempt to assassinate the President of the United States escalates into massive conflict. During the MCU's version of the Korean War, the US government injected black men with experimental versions of the super soldier serum without their knowledge or consent. Bradley's was the only successful test, giving him abilities similar to Steve Rogers. After Bradley failed his assignment to kill the Winter Soldier behind enemy lines, the government worried that public knowledge of a black super soldier would cause unrest in a largely segregated America. They locked their problem away, imprisoning Bradley for decades and further experimenting on him until a nurse helped him escape in the 80s. When Sam met Isaiah, the forgotten super soldier had already been living as a free man in Baltimore for decades, but naturally his past had left him bitter and mistrusting of America and its symbols.
They will never let a black man be Captain America.
Bradley seemed to change his tune after Sam stopped the Flag Smashers and was finally recognized by his country with his own statue in the Smithsonian's Captain America exhibit. Brave New World features Bradley at the White House, but his visit ends with a bang when something compels him to take a shot at President Ross. It's been a long road to the White House for Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. After returning home from the war in Vietnam, he made his way up the military ladder until he achieved the rank of 3-star general. Following the September 11th terrorist attacks, Ross was put in charge of recreating Project Rebirth and making more super soldiers. That plan went horribly wrong, but things turned around after Tony Stark approached him with an unusual proposal.
What if I told you we were putting a team together? Who's we?
After suffering a heart attack, Ross retired from military duty and turned his attention to the world of politics. It wasn't long before he was serving as the Secretary of State under President Matthew Ellis. After the Avengers' battle with Ultron at Sokovia and a botched operation in Lagos, the United Nations sought to limit their reach, and naturally Ross was massively in favor. He presented the Avengers with the Sokovia Accords, which Steve and Sam opposed despite Tony Stark's support. Ross sought to arrest Captain America and Falcon even after Thanos launched his invasion, but failed to do so before turning into dust post-snap. Ross may have been away for 5 years, but he still managed to secure the presidency soon after the blip. By the time Captain America: Brave New World rolls around, Ross is the commander-in-chief, and although he still has a bone to pick with Sam, he's open to the idea of putting the former Falcon on the government payroll. He's also played by Harrison Ford rather than William Hurt, the latter of whom died in 2022. President Ross has more than just political power in Brave New World. Despite his history of attempting to limit superhuman influence, Ross hulks out during his speech to the press.
Since when were they red?
That's a good question. And while we don't know all the details of his transformation, Ross has a history of messing with gamma rays and serums. Back when he was attempting to revitalize the Super Soldier program, the general enlisted the help of his daughter's scientist boyfriend, Bruce Banner, telling him that he was trying to make troops resistant to radiation. Unfortunately for Ross, things went sideways after Banner performed a test on himself and accidentally became the Incredible Hulk. After Banner went on the run, Ross became consumed by the need to take him into custody. He tracked him across continents and gave the super serum to another subject, Emil Blonsky, who eventually mutated so severely that they started calling him Abomination. When Abomination also lost control and started destroying Harlem, only Hulk could stop him, so in return, Ross allowed him to escape the city safely. Also returning in Brave New World is Dr. Samuel Stearns, who helped Banner in his search for an antidote. He performed a successful test on Banner before Blonsky stormed in and demanded Stearns inject him with Hulk blood. When Stearns was attacked by the newly mutated Abomination, he got a drop of Banner's blood and a cut on his forehead, increasing his intelligence far beyond normal human capability. Now known as the leader, Stearns is probably pulling more than a few strings in his first MCU appearance in 17 years. Just because Sam Wilson is Captain America now, that doesn't mean that there's no longer a Falcon. Enter Lieutenant Joaquin Torres. After Sam returned in the blip along with billions of others, he teamed up with Torres to take on terrorism worldwide. In his first on-screen appearance, Joaquin provided intelligence and ground support as Sam stopped a plane hijacking over Tunisia. He also provided his friend with important information about the Flag Smashers, and earned his wings after John Walker was stripped of the Captain America name. Even though he doesn't have superpowers, Joaquin is a skilled fighter with a knack for investigation.
Sometimes there's nothing to do until there's something to do.
That's bizarrely wise.
Well, I'm a bizarrely wise man, Sam.
Yeah, all right.
In Brave New World, Torres finally takes to the skies. With a massive conspiracy taking place, he's the only person that Captain America can actually trust, right? It's easy to forget, but Earth 616 actually has a giant cosmic entity emerging from the Indian Ocean. In Eternals, a celestial Arishem revealed to Cersei that he had planted a special seed on Earth that was about to blossom into another celestial called Tiamut. The only issue with this happening was that it would completely destroy the planet and everyone on it. Unwilling to watch the planet they had called home for centuries be destroyed, Eternals Cersei, Makkari, Phastos, Druig, and Thena decided to rebel against their creator. Cersei managed to turn Tiamut into marble and prevent Earth's destruction, but not before it managed to partially rise from the water. But what does this have to do with Captain America? It's easy to miss in the trailer, but Brave New World features plenty of action taking place around the massive hand and head of Tiamut. Considering the political nature of the movie's plot, it's likely that the land and resources on the dead Celestial's corpse are being sought after by many nations. Publications like Forbes have predicted that Tiamut is actually made of adamantium, the metal that makes up Wolverine's claws. But whether or not Brave New World helps introduce the X-Men into the MCU, the stage is set for major conflict, or even all-out war.